Mm.
Where is he, Brooklyn? I haven't heard this.
Oh, he's in New York Presbyterian in the psych ward.
Oh,
He either, I don't know what he took, since my sister-in-law's sister died. She had this huge house, and she was a hoarder, and she was a shopaholic, and huge house, huge, many floors, a basement, and he took it upon himself to, God bless you, evaluate things and put things together. And he he wore himself out, and the attacks, attacks he was doing, and then he started to get physically. It started affecting him physically. He needed a catheter, and then he just kind of snapped, like he didn't remember things. He didn't know how to use the computer anymore. And
Well, is it possible that there was something in that house if he was going through, I mean, like out here, if you go and clean up an old house like that or whatever, where there's a lot of stuff, you could get hantavirus, you could get, if there were uh rodents or other creatures there. There could be toxic stuff in there. He could have been exposed to something during all of that and
oh,
not even recognize it. And I mean, that happens a lot.
thank you. I'll mention that. I'll mention that.
Does he know that he's not his body and his body is a separate entity and it's happening to it,
I
not him?
wish. I wish.
Mhm. It'd be a big help.
I pray that he would know that. My sister-in-law is a militant atheist. So, like, I don't say anything to her. And him, I'm not sure, but um, I think he mentions about being in the flow when he's in the sun, at the flow state. So when he comes home, I'm going to remind him of the flow state that he experienced. He was able to experience. Yeah. Ay, ay, ay.
Hi, Elizabeth.
I'd like him to, hi Elizabeth, to join the group, but I don't think he's, hmm,
Well, you never know.
yeah, never.
Can't assume because the only thing that we can assume is the same thing that Jesus assumes is that we're not only capable, but we're willing to see the truth. And that's the reason that we have A Course of Miracles is because, Jesus and, the Holy Spirit just know that that's what we are and that's what we need to know. So I think it was it Keith that was saying, hey, if you have this blue book, it was made for you. I think Ken must have said that. In fact, I have heard Ken say that. So do we
Absolutely.
believe it or not, or think we're worthy of it or not?
Yeah. And Jesus tells you that.
Yeah, yeah,
He said, I don't choose my channels wrongly. You weren't here by mistake.
that's right. That's right. So yeah. So grateful for that. So good evening, everybody. Glad to see you all. And we are here to read and talk about A Course of Miracles. We're reading the Song of Prayer, and we still haven't finished, I don't believe, the section on, um, let me see here. This is the section on forgiveness to destroy. Well, I'll tell you why, because it's such a big
where is
deal.
he, Brooklyn? I haven't heard this.
Oh, he's
Oh,
in,
sorry, that was our recording playing.
oh, happy looks happy. Happy looks
All right.
happy.
He's
Oh
happy.
no, not the Kindle.
He's my he's my money companion.
Without a doubt.
Yes, he is. All right, so here we are, and we're just about done with this. There's only like really one paragraph. I think we read um, paragraph 7 last week, and well, we read paragraph 6 because I remember talking about bargaining and compromise. I think we must have read paragraph 7, but we could reread that, and then there's only one more paragraph after that. So if anybody would like to read, you could put your
I'll
hand up.
take it.
Great, thank you.
What would you show your brother? Would you try to reinforce his guilt and thus your own? Forgiveness is a means for your escape. How pitiful it is to make of it the means for further slavery and pain. Within the world of opposites, there is a way to use forgiveness for the goal of God and find the peace he offers you. Use everything, yeah. Take nothing else, or you have sought your death and prayed for separation from yourself. Christ is for all because he is in all. It is his face forgiveness lets you see. It is his face in which you see your own. It's a gift to be triggered. That's why it's a gift to be triggered, because we can realize that's not who we are and forgive, ourselves. I like that. Christ is for all because he is in all. And it is his face in which you see your own. That's beautiful. We're all mirrors of each other. The Christ mirrors the Christ. Far out.
Rafi, yeah, thank you, Brooklyn, for reading that. That you read that beautifully, and you pulled out what I think are really the primary topics here. First, what would you show your brother? Would you try to reinforce his guilt and thus your own? And I see that so much in the way that we operate in the world, that we're out there trying to point out and reinforce our brother's guilt, and look at them as if they're the reason that things are going wrong. And by doing that, we're really making them um, uh, the evil ones. We're making them the enemy. And so forgiveness is the way to get out of this. Stop looking at our brother and seeing his guilt, and pointing out his guilt, and focusing on his guilt, uh and 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 instead look for the love. Like we were just saying before, everybody's doing the best they can. And if you understood that everybody's doing the best they can, even if they seem to be doing something you think is terrible, uh, it's not up to us to decide what the world is all about. It's only us to decide that our brother is innocent. And so the idea that Christ is for all because he's in all, and it's in his face that you see your own. It's Christ's face, which he says farther on in the uh, clarification of terms. Jesus was a man who saw the face of Christ and everyone he saw, and so he remembered God. And that was everyone he saw. That was the people who were persecuting him. That was the people who hated him, the people who loved him, everybody. He saw the face of Christ in all of them, and he remembered God. And this is what he's reminding us right here. By seeing the face of Christ in our brother instead of the enemy, we do see our own redemption. Rafi, please go ahead.
Yesterday I was at the post office and it was a real long line, about maybe 10, 12 people. And there was a guy, a man, a person, there was a man in front of me, and a man in front of him was saying every thought that came into his mind. You know how people will do that? You know, so he was talking politics, he was talking social stuff, whatever came in, he just kept, and people were backing away from him, giving him space because I guess they thought he was nuts. But our minds do that all the time. He just didn't contain it in his mind. He just let it all come out of his mouth. I started seeing him as the Christ consciousness. And the more I saw him as the Christ consciousness, the more people around him started to relax. And when he got to the first place online, when we finally got to the first place online, and a woman beckoned him to her window, he said, "No, I want to talk to this man over here. He understands me." And he pointed to a guy at another window. So I was behind him, so she took me next. And everything moved along very smoothly, very calmly. There were no waves, there were no upsets, there were no back. And all I did was see him as the Christ consciousness that he really is. And it was like no big deal. It was just another day at the post office and everything went smooth. And that's all that was required. So everything in this paragraph is exactly right. And what Lynn said prior to my sharing was right on the money.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And wow, and isn't that interesting? Just let things be. If the guy wants to be at another window, fine, I'll go first. That eased my way. So I love it. Thank you, Rafi. Kieran, yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, Rafi. That was an awesome example. And thank you, Lynn. I love what you said too. You said something before Rafi shared something like, it's not up to us to decide, how people act. Basically, you said something like that. And it is not up to us to decide. It's our only responsibility is to accept the atonement for ourselves. So for me, that's my responsibility is to remain at peace regardless what's going on around me. And when I can be at peace, I could see peace instead of this. And when I can see peace instead of this, it doesn't matter what's happening. And then that affects all minds. And that's what Rafi did. Rafi affected his brother's mind by seeing the Christ in him. His brother was affected. And I was just talking about that with McKaylee today. And we had this exact conversation, and it's really learning to be, for me, it's really learning to be at peace no matter what's happening. And that is because there's no order of difficulty of miracles and there's no hierarchy of illusions. Now, and that's not always easy, but if I could just be at peace no matter what, and notice when I'm not, of course, notice when I'm not, but really being at peace is so helpful. Just it's just so helpful. That's all I got. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. And not only is it helpful, it calms the world, it calms the waters. When I go places and I'm in peace, it's like that aura of calmness that just surrounds me and the people around me, because that's all I'm doing is being calm, in the line waiting for the pharmacy when people are in the line and they're upset because the line's so long and they got to have worry about this, that, and the other thing. And, maybe their prescription isn't right, or, I've seen so many times, just being in that place and just being the love and the peace and just, not judging, someone's having a meltdown because, the line's so long or the prescription's not right. For me to just be there and be the peace and just to love them and to recognize, they may be having a hard day. I want to be peace for them. And I have seen it happen over and over and over again. For by the time I got up there in the line to the counter, the poor pharmacist who was just been harassed and beaten, but basically by these customers who are uh, so afraid. They're so afraid. They're there for their medicine. They're afraid, and it's being pushed out and pushed out. Just to be able to get up there and just be a calm place for the pharmacist or the tech or whoever's waiting on me, is it's such a wonderful thing, to see them, break down, smile, laugh, feel, less afraid, uh, less upset. It really is a good thing, and it's something that we all have. It's our nature to be that. We are the blessed are the peacemakers, and that's what we are. We are the peacemakers. Brooklyn, please go ahead. You're muted, honey.
I forgot to say namaste, mighty companions. It's I love. Thank you for sharing that, Rafi. Energy is more palpable now than ever. And I never realized, you feel someone's behind you, you feel someone, or you think of someone and they call or something like that. But I'm on the subways now. That's how I travel. And people seem to love each other, Smiles are contagious. Like this guy came in. He was a very shy guy. How people ask for money or food or something. I carry these separate crackers with peanut butter and, they're in separate packages. And, I gave it to him today. And, wow, that was some connection. We blessed each other. And, it was I just wanted to share that. The energy, thank God, the more we spread the smiles, let it be pandemic, and we don't have to wear masks then. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you, Brooklyn. And yes, you definitely spread the love. I know wherever you go. I can just see it. Mickey, please go ahead.
So, do you guys remember a couple of weeks ago I came up with the story about the two bosses, Eddie the Ego and Harry the Holy Spirit? And the only thing, Eddie goes yammering on about what a bad job you're doing, and Harry only says, "You're doing a great job." And so, a couple of times in these weeks since then, I've been in a store and had an occasion to talk to whoever was working there. And after they were done doing their bit, all I said was, "You're doing a great job." And the smiles that beamed out of them. And I said it, when I said it, it was, I got this feeling of spirit entering me and speaking through me, that it wasn't Mickey that was saying that. I just left myself open for that to come through. And I'm sure it made a difference in how it was received, because they would just smile and beam and thank me. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to let Harry take over whenever I'm interacting with people now and see what happens. But that was fun.
I love that, Mickey. And yeah, Harry knows. I don't. Harry does. So that's perfect. I love it. Rafi, please go ahead.
Yeah, what Brooklyn doesn't realize is the power that she has, that we all have, because we're all omnipotent. But when you look around and everybody in the subway is being warm and friendly and loving, that's a reflection of your consciousness. And it happened to me just the other day. I was in a Trader Joe's parking lot, and some guy was trying to do something with his car that was impossible, and he was totally confused. Two or three other cars now got stopped up. I got stopped up because of it. I just sat there and I said, okay, you don't like it the way it is. You want to change it. That's wanting control. Could I let go of wanting control? Yes. Would you rather have or want control? Have. Could you let go of wanting control or have control? Yes. Could you let go of wanting control or have control? Now, do you feel more like you have control? Yes. And I looked up and the whole situation had dissolved. The guy got his car out, other people were able to move, and all of a sudden the lot was flowing smoothly and harmoniously. Okay? That's the power that we have. We don't understand it because most of the time we're coming from that point of view where I'm just a person and, I don't know what the hell to do about this stuff. But we aren't people, and I don't know what the hell to do about that. It's just a thought. We aren't thoughts either. But once you get into the point of getting solid, like, and seeing and having the experience that Brooklyn had, if you just step back and notice that, that's that infinite power of love that we are. And it has nothing to do with people, but it's reflected in the dream all around us. Way to go, Brooklyn.
Way to go, Rafi.
Yay, team. That's something we used to say a long time ago and gather. Yay, team. Because everyone was working together to try to do the same thing. And when things worked out, it was, yeah, that's us. We are the A team. Yay, team. We are the A team, the angel team. Karen, please go ahead.
Yeah, I really like this paragraph because he's really reminding us that forgiveness is the means for your escape. And that's basically what Rafi did in the parking lot. It's forgiveness. And this is for all. Forgiveness is for all. So we don't just forgive one, we forgive all. And I heard Ken Wapnick say once about forgiving all. He said, it's like if you take a glass of water and you put just a little drop of red dye in the water, the whole glass is going to turn, the whole thing's going to turn red. So it's like you just can't hold one spot of darkness because one spot is all. It's all. I mean, I can't explain it as good as he can, but you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like, so if I'm not forgiving my brother, or if I'm forgiving one brother but not another brother, then I'm not forgiving. I have to forgive everyone in the situation and notice, why am I not forgiving? Why am I forgiving one and not the other? What is it? What's this guilt in me that I'm projecting onto this person? Because forgiveness is the means for your escape. Would you try to reinforce his guilt and thus your own? So if I'm not forgiving my brother, it's because I'm not forgiving myself. And then he says, in sentence 7 all the way down at the bottom, Christ is for all because he is in all. It is his face. It is his, I don't have my glasses close by. It is his face. Forgiveness lets you see. It is his face in which you see your own. So whatever we're giving our brother, we're giving ourselves. So why would I want to give anything other than forgiveness? Because that's really what it comes down to. I'm giving to myself. I'm always giving to myself. So it's for all, because that's what I've been noticing lately. That one spot of darkness will hide the face of Christ. Thanks.
Yeah, and that's perfect, Karen, because you reminded me, of course, of the equality, the idea of equality, and the course telling us to have, give all to all. That's really what it's all about. We're giving all to all by not making any exceptions. And when there's no exception, uh then 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 it's real. What we're doing is real. Excuse me. If we have even one exception, it means that we're holding back from one of our brothers. And if you wouldn't give it to all, you're not giving it to anyone. No one's receiving it if I'm not giving it to all. And it's so hard to believe. It's so hard to understand. And especially if we are the ones who are making the judgment as to what the validity or the how or the value of what is happening. If I think that I know what's happening and why, or I think I can make it better, do it better. And I mean, really, it is being hitting home with me a lot, because of it's what seems to be happening in the world when we look and see everything seems to be going wrong, or so many things to be going wrong. What would happen if we just shifted ourselves into lesson 268? Let all things be exactly as they are, and no longer criticize any part of it, but only see it as being perfectly planned by one whose only purposes are good. Just think if you could do that, and your ego is going to be saying, oh no, that's wrong, it can't work that way. If you don't point out the wrongs and things, and things will just get worse. There will be more injustice, more inequity. You have to be the policeman here, standing and watching and making sure that everybody's doing things a certain way. And if they're not, you got to make sure that they're caught and punished and bad things happen to them. I mean, this is the litany that runs in my head all day long. All day long. I look out into the world and see something that I think is wrong, and I make a judgment on it, saying it's not worthy, not valuable, not real, not good, whatever it is. And I think that it needs to change. When Jesus is so clear in the course that I need do nothing except not to interfere. And we're listening to Paul Hederman today, and he was saying he was talking about A Course in Miracles, and he really went into that whole idea of I need do nothing. And of course, he's not a Course in Miracles teacher. He has a whole other he's a non-duality teacher. He is a 12 steps guy, but he's very clear exactly that I need do nothing except not to interfere is the prime directive. Karen, yeah, please go ahead. Okay.
I need do nothing except not interfere. Right?
Right.
Exactly.
That's it, Lynn. That's it. And you reminded me too, what we're talking about here, forgive all, to have, give all to all, and to forgive all. In the very last chapter, in the very last section, and choose once again, in paragraph 6, he says, you are as God created you, and so is every living thing you look upon, regardless of the images you see. So for me, that is every living thing, meaning everything. So my biggest pet peeve, flies and roaches, I have a hard time with. So if I kill a fly, like I was talking to Mickey on the phone the other day, and what did I tell you, Mickey? I said, what do I do with this thing, this spider? There was a spider. There was a spider, and I didn't want to kill it. I said, what do I do with this thing? And I have a cup over it, and it's just circling around this cup. And she said, let it go, put it back outside. And I said, that's what I'm going to have to do because I can't kill it, but I can kill a fly. I can kill a fly and I can kill a one of those little fruit flies. I get annoyed. So these are two things, and this is every living thing, and that is still something in me that needs to be healed. If I can't see the all in God, if I'm hurting one thing, I'm still hurting myself. So that's something I'm working on, not killing flies and not killing. I'm still doing it, but I didn't kill that spider. I didn't kill that spider, but it's everything. It's all. So that's really a good reminder for me. So that's something that I need to look at. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for not killing spiders because I love spiders, but I don't love flies. So you're right. And yeah, what would this world be like if there weren't flies? Don't even it just you cannot imagine what a horrific place this would be if it weren't for flies, because flies, they're responsible, they lay their eggs, they're responsible for breaking down dead things and replacing everything. I mean, it's like a whole cycle. It's a whole cycle. But there's nothing dead in my house that I want a fly to get rid of. If I don't want it, I'll throw it away in the trash or put it in the garbage. But you know, if- I mean, they do have their purpose. I just am not keen on them flying around me. And what's more important, my peace or the fly being alive? Well, my peace is not dependent on whether there's a fly here or not. That's the thing that's so funny, is that I put my piece into there not being something here that's going to irritate me or agitate me or make me afraid. Spiders are scary to some people. You may not want them walking around on you, even though they do all the time. And I love spiders. I think I even have a something I recorded called I Love Spiders, but but I don't care for flies. So, uh, you know, you gotta laugh because it's all the same. It's all the same. Without the fly, the world would be a mess. Without the spider, the world would be a mess. This world, it's balanced, and so not one is better than the other. Uh, but I still don't want flies in my face. Rafi, please go ahead.
Yeah. If you look at the size of a room, let's say the room is 12 by 20, and the size of the fly, which is less than a half an inch long, and you have this enormous room and this one little fly flying around, and ego says, that's the enemy. And it makes a big deal out of this thing that's less than a half inch long in a space that's 20 by 18. And when I first saw that, what I did was, because I don't kill anything, what I did was open the window and the air drew the fly to the screen. Then I opened the screen and the fly flew away. It was really the simplest solution ever. And I didn't have to, because I remember what Lester Levinson said, have a sense of harmlessness to all creatures, to all beings. And it was so simple. So every time a fly comes in the house now, I do the same thing. I welcome friend, here's your way out. And I open the window and he goes to the screen and I move the screen aside and he flies away, or she, whatever it is. Who knows if they even have a gender. And it's gone. And then I looked around and I thought, look at the size of this room and look at the size of the fly. And the ego makes a mountain out of this less than a molehill creatures that's flying around, because that's how it operates. Everything is the end of the world. Oh my God, there's a fly in the room. Ah! Come on. When you said you gotta laugh, yeah, you gotta laugh. And so that's was a very valuable lesson to me. I learned a long time ago, and I've kept it with me ever since. And When I go to my garden, there's a bunch of bushes that I'm required to water, that I volunteer to water, and one of them is always filled with bees. And I go over and I say, "Hi, friends," and I make sure the water doesn't get anywhere near them. And if I don't bother them, they don't bother me. They're just doing their job. And I've seen it now. People afraid of stray dogs on the street, not the least bit bothered by them, because are coming from that attitude. And it's just a simple adjustment. And, Lester used to say, examine your thinking and correct it. That's what I did.
Thank you so much, Rafi. And yeah, you're right. The thing is, in a room this size, if there was a fly in the room, he would be in my face. One fly would be in my face. That's why, because I attract them. Obviously, I attract them. Probably because I smell, I have, food, whatever. So it's kind of, you really do have to laugh because it wouldn't be here if it weren't for me being here, doing whatever, have my window open. Uh, I don't worry too much about flies here, but because I have this, you hear that you probably don't hear the air conditioner running. There is a huge spider web over the front of because my window is partially open and the spiders have built this amazing web over here. And so, if something comes flying in here, it lands there first and I don't have to worry about it. But if I said, "Ooh, a spider web, I can't stand that having a spider web in my room," I think I'm gonna knock it down and all that hard work that the poor little spider just did all that to make. Um, Instead, hey, leave it there. It's a natural fly trap. It's better than fly paper because the spiders will eat the flies. I saw Elizabeth had her hand up a minute ago. I don't know if you still wanted to say something, Elizabeth. Um, Karen has her hand up now. So um, if you want to go ahead, put your hand back up, Elizabeth, but go ahead, Karen.
Yeah, Rafi, I love what you just shared, and it's very helpful. And in the course, it does talk about friends in different ways. Like it talks about our little friends being sin, guilt, and fear. And then it talks about our friends in good ways in a few places, like in the gifts of lilies, which is about all about forgiveness and our innocence. And he says he sees no strangers, only dearly loved and loving friends. He sees no thorns, but only lilies gleaming in the gentle glow of peace that shines on everything he looks upon and loves. And this is what the Course in Miracles is talking about. To have, give all to all. Every living thing means all, means including everything, even the toaster, even the oven, even this bottle of water everything. Be kind to everything because everything is a reflection of my thoughts. That's what the whole purpose of this course is, to bring the awareness back to the mind and recognize which teacher am I listening to. And when I'm killing that fly, I am surely not listening to the Holy Spirit. I am in fear, and I am seeing that as exactly what Rafi said, that fly is my enemy right now. And this is not really what I want. It's really not what I want. So I'm willing to see this differently. So yes, love shines on all the same, Dove just wrote. And the Course says that Christ's vision looks on all the same. So yeah, I mean, this is really good for me to hear right now because I do want to let those two things go. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah. Isn't it funny how we've gotten into talking about forgiveness to destroy? And we're talking about insects and all sorts of things, because it's our experience. The experience is not just an experience of the intellect and the mind and how we relate to each other. It's our whole experience in the world and in the body, in the world. So learning forgiveness, and especially, for instance, if you happen to be get sick or have some sort of a physical infirmity, uh to be able to just allow it to be and not argue with it, and just forgive it and let it go. Uh, that that takes away 80% of the irritation of it. You know, I'm irritated because I choose to argue and not accept. And if I don't accept what's happening and I want to change it, make it different, wish that it were being, you know, seen in a different way or whatever, then I can't fight it. I can't destroy it. Uh, and really I have to learn to love it. And loving it says that nothing has gone wrong. That's forgiveness. So let's look at we have about 15 more minutes. Let's finish this section today. Let's look at paragraph 8 and finish this up so we can move on to the next paragraph, the next section next Thursday. Who would like to read paragraph 8?
I'll read it.
Great, thank you, Rico.
Good evening, family. I send your love and light from my heart to yours. Thank you for letting me be here with you. Paragraph 8. All forms forgiveness takes that do not lead away from anger, condemnation, and comparisons of every kind are death. For that is what their purposes have set. Be not deceived by them, but lay them by as worthless in their tragic offerings. You do not want to stay in slavery. No, I don't. You do not want to be afraid of God. You want to see the sunlight and the glow of heaven shining on the face of earth, redeemed from sin and in love of God, in the love of God. From here is prayer released along with you. Your wings are free, and prayer will lift you up and bring you home where God would have you be. Hallelujah. Yeah, that's where I want to be. All forms of forgiveness takes that do not lead away from anger. That's basically saying to me is, I don't need to get angry. Comparison to every level of death. No, I don't want to die. Not that kind of death. For me, that's like a spiritual death. I don't want to die that kind of death. I've been there, done that. All forms of forgiveness takes lead not away from that. But this is what purpose have said. Be not deceived by them, but lay by them as worthless in their tragic offerings. All right. You do not want to stay in slavery. Hold on a second. Are you going? Okay, I'll see you later. You want to see the sunlight and the glow of heaven. I love that phraseology. You want to see the sunlight and the glow of heaven shining on the face of earth. In that place there, with my dyslexic mind, what I see it saying is to see the sunlight and the glow of heaven shining on every face you see, which is part of Mother Earth, redeemed from sin and in the love of God. How brighter could it get? That's a nice place to be. From here is prayer released along with you, your wings. So forgiveness is the ship I need to be riding on that. Thank you.
That is the ship, the sun ship. Yay. The one ship. Yay, exactly. And thank you for reading that, Rico. Yeah, forgiveness, the only thing that real true forgiveness can do is bring us into acceptance. No more condemnation, no more comparisons, no more anger, no more fear. You don't want to stay in slavery. It's so true. And this last line, your wings are free and prayer will lift you up and bring you home where God would have you be. It reminds me of that song, they'll lift us up to where we belong. That's exactly what's happening is we're being lifted to our true self, which is flying high above all the fear that we thought was our life. I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Rico. Brooklyn, please go ahead.
You are the wind beneath my wings. Judy Collins sang that. I wouldn't even attempt to sing it. But, you know, all forms of forgiveness takes that do not lead away from anger, condemnation, and comparisons of every kind or death. That old expression that I used to fall for, I'll forgive, but I won't forget. You know? Yeah, in other words, I'll still carry the poison inside of me, but I'll look happy, you know? Yeah, forgiveness, oh my goodness, be not deceived by them. It is slavery. It is. That reminds me of the chains in A Christmas Carol. You know, the resentments, the chains. Yeah. And it is very poetic. You want to see the sunlight and the glow of heaven shining on the face of earth, redeemed from sin and in the love of God. Yeah, that's a good place to be, Rico. That is a very good place. Yeah. Thank you.
I love that. Thank you, Brooklyn. The chains I forged in life. And let them go. They're just holding you down. Oh my God. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Rafi has his hand up and let's see, was it Rafi? Yeah, and then Mickey. Go ahead, Rafi.
Okay, let's say you're on the moon and you look back and you see the planet Earth from that perspective. What could you not forgive? What would you want to change? What would you want to fix? Who would you love and who wouldn't you love? Pointless. You're looking at the whole thing from several thousand miles away, and you're looking at the whole planet, and it's just the way it's supposed to be. And if that is not an example of acceptance, I don't know what is acceptance. Nothing needs to be changed. Nothing needs to be fixed. I love you because you are the way you are. I have what I need when I need it. Everything is unfolding exactly the way it's supposed to be. And you can then, how hard is it to come from the point of view of love, compassion, understanding, receptivity, beneficence? But once we get down there and we get around it, then ego takes over and it comes from that victim point of view and everything starts coming out of judging. But if you stand back and look at it from that point of view, there ain't nothing wrong. Leave it alone. My job is to wake up.
Thank you, Rafi. That's it. I only have one job here. Perfect. Mickey, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think that that sentence that Brooklyn reread, that first sentence, is the perfect summation of forgiveness to destroy. If it's not leading away from any kind of condemnation or comparison, it's forgiveness to destroy. If there's anyone that we wouldn't give the same forgiveness to, that's forgiveness to destroy. If we're not being an extension of light in in everything that's one, then it's forgiveness to destroy. And addicted egos that we are, that we're constantly doing that, maybe just for a minute until we catch ourselves. But I've just become hyper aware lately of looking at what's going on and realizing how incredibly stuck I am in ego. I guess it's a sensitivity now that I want it to really fall away, that I'm becoming hyper aware of every time I make an exception, or every time I forgive one thing but not another. It's become almost unbearable how hyper aware I am of it now. But yeah, this is life in a body, I guess. but I'm ready to let that go. Thanks.
What a sweet feeling that is. Thank you, Mickey. I love that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I just feel that. Wow. Karen, please go ahead.
Yeah, that was awesome, Mickey. And I just want to add to that. Ken Wapnick basically says that just be aware, just be aware. And recently, someone asked him a question. Well, basically made a statement to him and said, you never really give advice like, go to this section and read this or read the lessons over or go to that section. He was specifically talking about go to rules for decision. There's a lot of instructions in there. He said, you always say, just be aware, just be aware, just be aware. And that's it. Just be aware. Just be aware. Who am I listening to? Which teacher am I listening to? Just be aware. Notice when I am listening to the ego and make another choice. It's always that. So it's huge what you just shared, Mickey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. And yeah, it is huge. It is huge. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all you guys and you're choosing to be here, be with me, and be part of our family and be part of this this thing that we're doing here. And we are being lifted up and we are being moved along and we are seeing the light of heaven. Every day it's easier and easier and easier to hear the voice and see the love because we're doing it together. And I'm so grateful for all of us. Our time is just about up. I'm going to go ahead and close the book. Next week, we will start on forgiveness for salvation, or as Bill might have accidentally typed it, slavation. Heard that sometimes he would type slavation instead of salvation because the ego, very tricky. So thanks, you guys. I love you all. And I will get sent out the link for Dove's talk on Sunday morning. We'd love to have you all join us at Awakening Together. I think it's a wonderful group of people. There are some people I've loved for a very long time. So it'll be wonderful to be with them again. All right. Well, I'm with them every Sunday anyway, and so is Dove. So we always go to Awakening Together on Sunday morning. All right, you guys, I love you all.
I love us. Big hugs. Big hugs. Mhm.
Keep carrying them loving crackers there, Brooklyn.
That's right.
Love you. Everybody be well. Elizabeth, Dove, Mickey, Lynn, Rafi.
And
Karen.
everybody, hug yourselves tonight. I was on a pretty intense webinar today, and it's amazing how many are having such a problem with unconditional self-love. Not just for the self we think we are with all this condemnation. So it's like a different kind of love, but appreciate the self now for being able to see, I want to see things differently. So in some way, really hug ourselves and say, we need this so much for ourselves as well as who we think is out there.
Big
And
all
so
the
I
time.
truly feel with everyone, it is such a difficult passage, and yet it really is the freeing passage.
Yeah.
Even for the beautiful little black dog, it breaks my heart because I've had so many animals and they've all had unfortunate, let's say, passings. And I still would hug that one that Dove has and say, somehow in the heavens, our souls are dancing happy, free of all of this glory. I call it blood, sweat, and tears. And so hugs to our souls that are saving us.
Beautiful.
And I love you all. Thank you.
I love you, Liz.
Elizabeth.
Mhm.
Be like Paul and John.
Thank you.
All you need is love.
Oh, do. All you need is love.
That's
Let's
it.
put a
You guys
takeout
have a-
order
Thank
and
you.
have it eat in.
All right, you
Good
guys.
night, all.
I love y'all.